questions on the minutes from the last, that you have read and from the last meeting? Any additions or corrections? I will ask for a motion to accept them as presented.
So moved.
Yeah, a second, please.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anyone against? Motion passes. If you are in the public and you want... I didn't understand you.
No, this one, your introduction to city staff.
Well, don't we have to do first?
You can do that, but either way.
Yeah,
Either
okay. If anyone is in here from the public, if you want to speak before the board, you have to complete the form that's on the table over here, and please get it back to our secretary, and we'll proceed from there. Secretary, we will have you to read the call for item A. Is the applicant here?
No, let's go ahead and introduce staff first.
Pardon?
Before you get to item A, let's have staff introduce themselves.
I still didn't hear you.
Okay, before we go to item A, let's have each person's staff introduce their name and their position.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
Okay, the staff members, if you would please be kind enough to stand, give us your name and your position with the city.
And I'll swear you in too. First, give your name first.
Glenn Urquhart, Chief Building Official, City of Daytona. John Cecil, Rehabilitation Inspector.
Kim Flaherty, Project Manager.
And Robert Jagger, City Planner.
Okay, guys, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony and evidence you give today is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Thank you.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. I would like to have the secretary do the roll call, please.
Mr. Culver?
Here.
Mr. Bailey?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Weatherholt?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
You've got a quorum.
We have a quorum, so we will proceed with the meeting. Any...
The first case on your agenda is case A. It's BP 2018-040. It's 508 Gibson Street. This is an appeal of a notice of condemnation and demolition order. I believe staff has a statement to make on this one. Continue to step up and inform the board of the status.
On 508, Glenn Urquhart, City of Daytona Beach, Chief Building Official. For that particular address, they have applied for the demo permit, and they're going to take it down voluntarily.
When will that be issued, Glenn?
All we have to do is go out to, we already have it,
Okay.
so we just have to go out and make sure utilities are disconnected, and they'll be pushing forward right after that.
And how much time do they get when the permit is issued?
For that, they should get that done within 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Staff's recommendation at this point is to continue this for a month to allow them to proceed with demolition. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So we just need a motion to continue.
Okay, may I have a motion to continue, please?
I'll make that one.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. Okay.
Your second case is case B, BP 2018-0057. That's at 512 South Street. And again, this involves a notice of condemnation and demolition order. I believe is there anyone here representing the Masonic Lodge today? The city is ready to proceed on this matter. Our first witness would be John Cecil.
John Cecil, Rehabilitation Demolition Inspector. We did receive yesterday signed voluntary takedown of the structure. So I can scan through some photos if you'd like.
The status on this is that they did come in and sign a voluntary demo, but do we have, they have to pull permits yet, so there are some things to. They want the city to tear it down. And they're.
They will not challenge this. They decided not to challenge. They want the city to tear it down.
Okay, so they're not, it's not a voluntary demolition that they're doing. So we're going to go through this procedure this morning. They're apparently, although no one's going to represent them, not objecting to us moving forward this evening. They're not appearance are certainly like that. All right, let's move forward then. You're familiar with the site located at 512 South Street?
Yes, sir.
And when did you first become aware of any issues?
November 2nd, 2018, notice of condemnation and demolition order was issued at that time.
All right, were there some problems with the site prior to that you become aware of?
Received a complaint from the neighbors at that location. They were concerned that the building was leaning and falling on the one corner, so they're saying that the building has shifted.
And and what did you do in response to the complaint by the neighbors?
Went out to the property, took photos of the property, and did a walk around of the property and documented with my photos and notes.
And when would that have occurred? When did you first visit out the site?
The property on November 2nd. So when I do get it, 2018.
All right. What did you observe? Now, how many times? Let me start with this. How many times have you been out to the site?
Numerous times. It's on South Street, which is a road that I run every day. So I drive by it pretty much every day.
When was the last time you were out there?
This morning.
What was the condition when you observed it this morning?
It is exactly the same, a little bit worse than what it was from the very beginning.
So they've done no repairs or attempted to do any work from the first time you saw it until today?
Absolutely not.
All right. You've got some photos of the site?
I do.
When were these photos taken?
These photos were taken on different actual dates that I was out there. We'll have some that I was at the time that I posted it, and I can give you those dates here. Let me get back to the beginning. Let's get back. Okay, yep, 10/31/2018 is when the actual notice was posted. The notice of condemnation was issued on November 2nd. So I was actually out there before we even issued it and sent it into the mail. So I posted it prior to
And all
the
these
day.
photos were taken by you?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
All right, let's run through it if you could describe what the pictures are taken.
Okay, this is the photo taken. It's the Masonic Lodge, which is taken. This is from Street View, which is South Street, and that's what we're looking at. That's the front. As you can tell in the front, up top, the windows are kind of like shooting out. You'll see this side here. The windows are broken. There's no access to the upstairs, and down underneath it's all rotten as we're going around.
This is an entirely wood structure, I take it?
Yes, sir.
And is there intrusion of the elements as far as you can tell?
Yes, sir.
What is being shown here?
This is the part of the floor. As we're going through it, we'll see like the water. It funnels into that area, and the water comes up in that area. And a lot of times that is underwater at that location.
You see a beam at the bottom here across some brick.
Yes.
pillars.
And that's showing on one side how it looks, and then when I showed the photo on the other side, you'll see that it's actually collapsed.
Is that a structural beam?
Yes, it is.
What does that beam do?
That's holding up on the whole side of the building. That runs the whole entire length of the building.
And is that beam rotted or deteriorated?
Yes, it is.
Thanks for that.
And as you can see that they have railroad ties, which is holding up the beams.
Is that consistent with our codes in any way?
No, it is not. And you can see on some of these other photos, you'll see 2 or 3 actually railroad ties that they got that is holding up the flooring. Okay, there's just shows around the window rotting. elements getting in. This is off of South Street, the front, actually the rotting around the door frame. What you can tell that's where the front door was. That's the stairs going in there.
Are those stairs up to code?
No, they are not.
Why is that?
Because you have breakage in the concrete. There's no hand railing or safety features there.
Next photo.
And you can see the photo here is showing more railroad ties all the way across, which is actually holding up. And this is what when they were doing all this is what the neighbors were. They were asking about that, and that's why I went to this location. This just shows that there's no meter at the location.
Meaning there's no electricity to the side?
That's correct. This is the one corner that's in pretty bad shape where they actually have the railroad tie. And the railroad tie's been there for some time, as you can tell, because it's starting to rot also.
And what is this that's shown in the corner? Is this a place for intrusion of the elements again?
Yes, it is.
And Vernon?
Yes. And then this just shows more where the water from the one of the doors on the side, off the side street.
This is a door to the exterior, I presume?
Yes,
And we see there's no steps or otherwise not up to code.
correct. That's just a closer shot of that. And this is the rear of the building.
What is the big?
Whoop,
this is
I'm sorry.
back to that. Anything there that is structurally significant?
It's the same all the way around. You have missing siding, so you have the elements getting into the structure. There's no access to the door, and the floor joists are cracked and they're rotting and termite is what deterioration of that.
What evidence did you have of termite damage?
The way that the wood is rotting, or the wood is missing in between, you can just, I'm trying to explain it. Just by knowing, looking at the wood that has had termite damage, that I know that it had termite damage from prior to.
And was the termite damage to such an extent that it would affect the structural integrity?
That would cause the boards to actually be weak and then could collapse. Yes.
And that's something you observed on this parcel?
Yes.
Next photo.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got here?
This is off the side street entrance. So this is the side steps that go up into this structure. As you can see that we have missing siding and the elements that are getting into the structure. Here they have more railroad ties holding up. This is on the side also where that door was. This is the worst side of it, which is the west side of the structure. And here you can see it's starting to break. That piece right there that is broke, that's part of the siding that's broke, but back up underneath, as you can see, the main beam that's going across there has broke off. It's not that runs through, is rotted off.
When you say the main beam, is that a structural beam?
Yes, it is. And you can see they were going to be putting in more railroad ties at this location. They brought them in and dropped them off on the west side. And then this is an upstairs shot of the windows that are actually from the elements getting behind it, and it's rotting in the wood, and it's forcing out the window frames. And that's the side of the west side of the building, the shot of the west side of the building. There's a closer picture of the broken.
What did you do after you took these photos?
After I took the photos, I come back. Everything gets logged into the iPad. Come back, and then I take my notes of the structure.
All right. And who do you report to?
My building official,
Who's that?
Glenn Urquhart.
Is this structure unsafe in your opinion?
In my opinion, yes.
David?
Yes.
That's all I have on this witness.
That's good.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment or
We're
talk
going
to?
public comment to the end if that's.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
If the board had any questions.
The board have any questions?
Now would be the
okay.
time.
Board, any questions?
They give the applicant is here, so there's no questions. All right, we'd call Mr. John, I'm sorry, Mr. Glenn Urquhart.
Glenn Urquhart, City of Daytona Beach, building official.
Mr. Urquhart, when did you first become aware of the issue responsible?
Upon John Cecil bringing it to my attention, then I rode out to the location with him.
All right, and you actually signed the demolition order, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We've seen the photos. Could you tell the board, what about the condition of the property renders it unsafe and dangerous?
The condition of the property, the structural components are compromised, as you just went over the pictures. Your floor support systems are sagging, and of course they were trying to, at one point, put the railroad ties underneath them. But with that sag in the floor support systems, it's also causing your walls to bulge, which that's why the windows are then starting to come out of the walls. So in the situation where it is now, that combined with the termite destruction, when it gives a perfect case for termites with your water supply, water sitting underneath the property all the time, as well as wood. So you're giving the food source and their water source.
All right, so this is a wood building and the electricity is turned off. Any indication if there's a fire alarm protection for this building?
No, sir.
Would you say that the foundation is unstable?
100%.
Is there a potential for partial or complete collapse?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any indication whether they have operating plumbing?
No operating plumbing.
In your opinion, is it reasonable for the owners to attempt to repair the structure?
No, not at this point.
And why is that?
The amount of monies it would take to rebuild this structure with the interior components as well as a new mechanical, electrical, and plumbing system would deem it far to outweigh the cost.
No further questions. Does the board have any questions of this witness?
One question, just for curiosity. On the demolition after that, what happens to the site? What do they have to do in order to resod it, reseed it?
Yeah, we have a list of requirements that goes with all the demolitions, which definitely they have to resod it within 20 feet from where the public sidewalk is. Then they can seed it from that point in. Any connections to the street, when we deal with both public and commercial properties, that they have to go ahead and take that out, so that way it doesn't become a parking lot for people. But they have to meet all those requirements and remove all debris and basically bring it to a nice sodded lot so it's appealing to the neighbors.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, how does the city reimburse for the demolition if the city's going to do the demolition?
These costs become a lien on the property and run with the land.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, if they don't keep the yard up after, what happens then?
Then at that point, it would become a code case for the owner of the property. If there is no owner of the property, they've all skipped, we have a program in place with Public Works to maintain different properties throughout the city. So then that way it doesn't end up where it's 6 feet of overgrown brush.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board?
Ask if there's anybody in the audience.
Anyone from the audience have any comments or you want to? Yes. Yes, sir. Come forward, please. Did you have time to make out one of our forms? Did you make out one of the forms? So when you want to speak, did you make one of them out?
Come on, we'll wait out the board.
Come on.
Okay.
No problem. My name is Travis Turner from Fraternal Lodge number 36. From my understanding,
Yeah, let's get you sworn in. Good idea. Could I have your name, address, name, please?
Travis Turner.
Okay, you solemnly swear or affirm the
affirm.
testimony and evidence, the truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Now, go ahead, sir.
Like I said, my name is Travis Turner I'm a brother of the lodge. I just recently, well, not recently, year and a half ago, got into the lodge. We've been talking about it and talking about what we're going to do with it. It's still, well, we had to talk about it and we wanted to come down, but we do have plans for the lot. So from sitting from back there and listening to everything that y'all are saying, you're saying that if we maintain the lot after it's torn down, it will still necessarily belong to us. Is that correct?
If I could answer that. The ownership does not change. All that happens here is the city goes forward, the structure, those costs are leaned against the property, so there will be a debt that will be owed to the city. But the city does not obtain ownership of the lot itself.
Okay. So if we were to, like she said, maintain the lot, Mrs. Brown, like she said, if we were to maintain a lot and take care of it, sod it, as you said?
The city will actually sod the lot as part of the demolition. The continued maintenance of the grass will be the responsibility of the owner. In this case, the Masonic Lodge.
Okay. Well, I guess that's all my questions and my comments. Just
Thank
to
you.
let you know who I was and why I'm here.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, board, your pleasure.
Make a motion to deny the appeal.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next case is case C, it's BP 2018-0032. It's at 106 Gardner Court, which includes 102 and 104 Gardner Court, and this is an appeal of the notice of condemnation and demolition board. This first witness is Mr. John Cecil.
John Cecil,
Give your title.
Rehabilitation Demolition Inspector.
You're aware of some issues at 106 North Gardner Court?
Yes, sir.
When did you first become aware of some issues out there?
Actually received a complaint on this property also that there were homeless that were staying on the front porch.
And this was a citizen complaint?
Yes, it was.
And when did you receive that complaint?
That complaint was received, I believe it was on 5/22 or 5/23 of 2018, because I was right out there the next day or the following day to post the property.
Very good. And you posted the property with what?
Went out there and did the inspection of the property. I came back to the office, got in contact with Kim and gave her my codes, and then the paperwork was done. And I went back out and posted the property at that time.
And my question is, you're posting it with what?
A condemnation order.
Condemnation and demolition order?
Yes.
And that would be signed by your boss?
Mr. Urquhart, yes.
All right. And how many times have you been out to the site?
This is also numerous times to this site.
You took some photos over those various site visits?
Yes, I have.
When was the last time you were out there?
This morning.
And you got photos with you today to show the board?
Yes.
All right, and you took all of these photos that you're about to show, is that correct?
Yes. This is the copy of the posting and the hearing notice. It's starting to show just taking some general pictures of the building overall. It's a two-story building. Apartments, I believe it's 102, 104, and 106 Gardner. You can see in the block there it's starting to crack. This is a picture that's in the rear of the structure.
Now, what's the
That shows shifting of the structure.
Is there any structural component that is important to note here?
Yes, because once the block starts to shift, your flooring, you'll see on some of the other photos also, it's all rotted. This property, when we had the flood, the water was up to that level. It was all the way around this structure, and then that's why you have the rotting wood and things at the bottom of the structure.
Something that's odd to me, not having a building or construction background, but it looks like there's wood and concrete. Could you explain the significance of that from the structural component?
It looks like from this perspective that there was a porch there, and it ran on across, and then it looks like they've possibly, I can't tell, but that would be a good question for Mr. Urquhart, but the block was added a little bit late at a later time on that structure at that time.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. This is the front of the building where it is actually falling apart, and those pieces actually fall into the street. There's a little parking area in the front that it is falling apart.
What is this? Is this a
That's a balcony.
balcony?
It runs across the front of the structure.
So this at one time had a protrusion that was a balcony?
No, this structure right here, it used to go all the way across. The stucco used to go all the way across, and it is actually fallen off. And if you can see towards down the bottom, you got the rot. And we do have a engineer's report on this structure also.
All right, so where's the rot? Is there any rot in the beam here? Or
On support, as you can see on the bottom there. I was trying to get
is this the horizontal beam?
the ones that run diagonal here.
Okay. All right, and what was the extent or the nature of the rot?
It looks like it's weathered and possible termite damage.
It's structurally compromised?
Yes, it is. And this is actually right below that. This is on the floor, or right on the bottom of where the porch is. The picture that you saw before was on the second story on the same corner of the structure. And this is right below it.
All right, we've got a supporting beam that we're showing?
Yes. And it's all
What's the condition of that beam?
poor. It's rotten. It's fading. I mean, it's just falling apart. It's just falling on the ground.
Is it capable of supporting the structure?
No, it is not. And this is the back side of that front corner. As you can see, if you look all the way to your right, that's the last picture that you saw. So this is on the back side of the structure. It's in the same condition.
We've got some tarp there. Somebody's trying to protect it from the elements.
Yes.
Is it open to the elements?
Yes, it is.
And when we say open to the elements, is rain capable, rainwater, and other moisture capable of protruding from the building?
Yes, and the plastic is no longer there.
You went out today, is that right?
Yes, I was out there this morning.
All that plastic's gone now.
Yes.
And has there been any attempt to repair or remodel the building?
Not at all. This is just another photo showing that. This is from when I believe it was when the engineer went out there to do an assessment of the structure. They were pulling away pieces to check the integrity of the building, and this is what they came across.
You mentioned an engineer a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Who was this engineer retained by?
The owner.
And were you out there with the engineer at some point?
I was not when they were there, but I was there in the afternoon. They actually made their assessment and left early because of the statement in his report.
Very good. All right, we'll get to the engineering report later for the report's benefit. Next photo.
It's just that's a photo from the porch side, looking out.
And what is, okay, this is the...
That's that front, yes.
And then we can see some damage on the interior here. What does that indicate?
Yeah, it shows, see that there's more laser, but they put a 2x4 up there to hold the ceiling in. If that 2x4 that they nailed there on the supporting beam wasn't there, the porch also would be falling in, the top of the porch would be falling in.
Looks as if they've stuck some screws up in there as well.
Yes.
Does this
Yeah.
represent a danger to anyone who might be walking into this area?
Yes. And that's another photo of that side that where all the damage is.
So, is this is obviously stucco over wood in this area, is that right?
That's correct.
Are there other areas that are blocked, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so here, this wood that we see is a structural foundation, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
And what's the condition of that? Is that equal supporting the structure?
No, it is not. Is because of the rot and the I believe it was termite damage there on that property, and it sat underwater for numerous days, is what I understand, during that flood, during the hurricane. This is a photo of the porch, and you can see the cracks in the porch. It's sagging also in the middle from it's sinking down, and then you can see there's cups and things of and cardboard where it shows that homeless have been staying on the property.
Now, you mentioned some cracks in the concrete, and you talked about this being a wood structure and it's on block.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about how this slab got there, if you can tell from your observations?
How the slab got there,
How
or
was that slab supported?
without being able to see underneath, it would be blocked up to the porch there. So it's given away once the wood structure underneath is rotting and given away. Then that's breaking down the support system of the concrete that's on
So
top.
that's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Somebody poured concrete over wood. So-
Yes, it'd be like that. Yes,
And then that would, and it's because of the rotting wood that this is cracking.
yes. Oh, is that all? Oh. Something happened to them.
Looks like the picture of the last case.
Yeah, there was the,
I'm not changing it.
we're on the wrong parcel now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can, I'll disregard the photos. Were there any more photos, or did we get through the entire block?
So let me see real quick. I'm sorry. I believe we're going to be right at the end. We're at the end. We're at the end.
All right, real good. In your opinion, is this structure a danger?
Yes, it is.
Is it unsafe?
Yes, it is.
Is it insanitary?
It's unsanitary.
Is it
Unsanitary.
open to the elements? That's
Yes.
That would allow vermin?
Yes.
Was there electricity to the parcel?
No, there was not.
So would it be unfit for human habitation or occupation?
Correct.
Correct. All right, that's all I've got for this witness. Any questions from the board? Next witness will be Mr. Urquhart.
Glenn Urquhart, City of Daytona Beach, building official.
Mr. Urquhart, have you been out to the site?
Yes, sir.
And when was the last time you were out to the site?
Friday.
And you also issued the order to leave the property and
Yes, sir.
requiring demolition? You were out on Friday and you see the pictures. Anything has changed? Has anything changed from the pictures to what you saw on Friday?
No, sir.
Any work been done at the site?
No, sir.
All right. Well, tell us, in your opinion, is the site unsafe, dangerous, unsanitary, and fit for human occupation?
Yes, it is.
And why do you say that?
As far as the structural integrity of the building is compromised, especially with the flooding that went on with the past two hurricanes, when all that water got up underneath, and it's been happening for years. So the water's wicking through the wood. So this is just a couple of the areas that have been exposed where you can see it, but behind that other stucco is representing exactly what you're seeing here as far as with the wood. The wood's rotted. All the water with the building sitting in the water over the past years, because it's in a bad flood zone right there. So when the water comes up, it wicks up in, it goes up in the walls. Then you're feeding termites, and that's why we had the termite damage out there. You can see all right through here where it's rotted the wood inside. Then basically your top portion of the patio there, that's just where the drywall has absorbed moisture, and that's about to cave in. So by them having that 2x4 there, that's just holding it in place. But eventually it's just going to be saturated and it will just fall in anyways. So even with the way it is on the porch area and in the back area, with homeless people getting there, it also creates a hazard for them being on the porch.
Did you observe the evidence of the vagrants or homeless persons there?
I didn't see anybody on site, but I did see the material that was left on the front porch.
Very good. In your opinion, is it reasonable for the property owner to attempt to repair this site?
No, sir.
Why is that?
Because by going to do the structural repairs that would be required on this, they would have to repair the perimeter walls, all the structural supports, as well as the understructure, the undermining. So that's all that stuff that's given way and been compromised. All that would have to be replaced, and for what the value of the building is to what it would take to repair it, it would break the 50% threshold. Then they'd have to bring the whole building up to code, and at that point they'd have to go mechanical, electrical, plumbing, as well as the structural. So that's kind of where they break the point on this as far as the value.
All right. You reviewed, have you been provided a copy of an engineering report?
Yes, I have.
Is that part of the packet?
Yeah.
Very good. So you have a copy of the report
It's in the book.
Let me show that to you. Is this the report that was provided to you from the property owner?
Yes, it is.
All right. And who is the report prepared by?
That's prepared by Joseph D. Hiller.
And what was the date on the report?
That is June 12th, 2018.
And what is Mr. Hiller's profession?
He's a structural engineer.
All right. Now, what was the purpose of the property owner conducting the engineering report on the structure?
Well, he would want to see if it's feasible and if it's even doable to go ahead and do the structural repairs on the building.
Did you speak to the engineer, Mr. Hiller?
No, I have not.
Do you have reviewed the report?
Yes, sir.
Was there anything in the report that was of significance to you in terms of whether the structure was sound?
Well, there's several, like where you're in the second paragraph, the wood is rotted due to water intrusion and has lost its structural integrity due to the deterioration, as well as what we pointed out before with the poured concrete over the wooden deck, and that's not a modern construction practice. Right here, where the framing does not appear to be up to current building code standards, and that's by the structural engineer stating this, as well as he could not physically investigate underneath the structure due to the possibility of the structure collapsing, and that's from a structural engineer not wanting to go underneath the components there. Most of the structure has had water penetration, and that leads into what I was talking about as far as once all that water gets underneath, now you're having water wicking up the walls, and now it's behind all the plaster on the entire perimeter. Then you have he also stated by this accelerating the cracks in the CMU blocks of the foundation. So with those components that he stated within his report, and coming from a structural engineer, I'd agree with what his findings were.
So just to be clear, you're not a structural engineer?
No, sir.
We have a new board member who may not be familiar with your background. Could you just tell the board what your background is?
Background, I've been in construction since 18. I'm currently 54. I have licenses in mechanical, electrical, plumbing, building, as far as on for actually doing the inspections, as well as all the licenses in plans review. I'm a building official. I'm also a fire investigator and a fire safety inspector. So we do also fire inspections through our division. By having that background and also working with structural companies for 12 years as far as Universal Engineering and the Darcy Engineering, that's where my background comes within the building.
Very good. No further questions.
Any questions for?
I have one
From the board?
question. You mentioned several times that this is flooded out during the hurricanes and high water.
Yes, sir.
Is it in a floodplain?
Where they stand right now, and as far as with the floods that we get with what we got during Beach Street, and then the 500-year flood, which we've gotten 2 times within the last several years, that would be in that zone.
Do you know whether the county is planning on changing that area, to designate it a floodplain? Because there would be certain requirements on building in a floodplain that they probably wouldn't exhibit right now.
Correct, and we are actually right close into that same area. We have another building that is falling into that same ruling where you then have to raise your bottom floor up to the new designated height. So where they stand right now, they would not be to current rules as far as floodplain.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Anyone from the audience want to speak on this case?
Good morning.
Hi,
My name is
good
Samson
morning.
White.
Raise your right hand, please.
Yes, sir.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that is given the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Give us your name, please.
Samson White. I'm here on behalf of the owner, Tony Greenberg. One of the contractors currently working on getting this property up to date and repaired. That report that you saw was an outdated report. We've actually had plans to repair the structure with the structural engineer, the same one that you guys had stated in that previous report. We've turned plans into the city to repair it. We were going to demo the new front porch, add new pylons, and completely restructure that south side that is sagging down and has the water damage. We were denied the plans because apparently it was in a historic district and we were not aware. We were going to rebuild the front porch with a new design, and so now we're currently working on getting the plans to just keep the current design and rebuilding all the structural problems with that building.
Any questions from the board?
And as far as the
Gentlemen?
photographs, some of that was inaccurate as to what he was saying with the block. That's not even part of the structure of the building. That's a shed that is detached from the building. So that has nothing to do with the structural integrity of the building. Also, anywhere the stucco has been taken off, that is something that we did so we could get a more accurate report through our engineer. I've been under that building and in that building, so I know where all the damage is. On the south side is where all the damage is. Our plan is to raise that building up, repair everything under, putting new pylons and structurally repairing everything in there. The other side of the building, however, is not have any water damage under the structural side of that.
Where are you in the process of this? Have you submitted plans to the city? Or?
We have submitted plans to the city, but like I said, they were denied because we were going to build a whole new front porch, demo that entire thing, and have a new design. But since they said it's in a historical district, we need to keep the integrity of the building the way it looks the same. And so now our engineer, this was maybe 2 weeks ago that we were denied those plans, maybe a month between there. Now our engineer is back rewriting the plans for the same design that the building currently has.
You indicated you're representing the owner. What's
Yes,
the
sir.
relationship with the owner?
The contractor working for him.
Contractor.
Yeah.
You're a
Mhm.
licensed contractor.
I'm not a licensed, no. I'm working with another licensed contractor on getting the structural stuff taken care of and the permits.
Who are you working with?
The owner. Oh, the contractor I'm working with? Yeah, it's Steve Van Arum is the name of the contractor. He is the licensed contractor and a roofing contractor as well. The owner,
Are you here with the owner's permission?
yes, sir.
And then why is it the owner?
The owner lives in California, and he actually had fire damage. His house was destroyed and all that, so he has basically nowhere to live right now, so that's why he can't make it out here.
Is the contractor that you're working for, is he a licensed general contractor?
Yes, sir, and licensed roofing contractor.
I actually know, I know Steve.
You know him?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And, with, obviously it's a crawl space underneath the building.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about raising the building itself. Structural integrity, would it allow you to do that and not changing the facade since it is in a historical district?
Yes, sir. Basically, our plan is to pull the stucco off. That south side is the worst side of that building. Our plan is to pull the stucco up to see how far the rot has gone, and then we're going to jack that building up because it has sagged because the main beam on the bottom has started to rot. So we're going to raise it, pull that beam out, put a new beam, put stronger pylons under there to completely structurally engineer that entire
Has
building.
the engineer given you an estimate on cost on doing all of this?
As the engineer, he has given us plans. Yeah, he wouldn't give us a cost on what the
Well, is your contractor giving you a cost?
yes, sir. Yes,
could I ask what that cost would be?
Yeah, for the structural component, it's going to be around $120,000.
Just the structural, and then, you're talking about all of the electrical and mechanical, and would that meet the threshold of
So
being...
total, we're looking around between $200,000 and $250,000,
And
which the owner is aware of and understands the cost of the building.
Anyone else from the board have any questions?
I think the question is the value of the property versus the construction cost on remodeling, because you're going to have to bring everything up to code.
Yeah, I believe that he paid around $300,000 for the building itself, but by the time we're done, it should be worth well over $500,000.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Comments?
I'm just wondering, how long do you think it'll take to get
As soon as we get
together?
As soon as we get the plans approved, which our engineer is working on rewriting those now, so it should be the next week or so to have the revised plans. But as soon as we get those approved, the work itself shouldn't be, as far as the structural component and getting the building where it's safe, should be only a few months.
So would you explain the process to us, Mr. Zerford? I mean, obviously, if he gets a building permit, that would forestall our action, but right now he doesn't have a building permit.
Yes, the permit that was applied for was to remove and replace the front porch, which Kim just gave me the date on that, which was December 5th of 2018. Now, what we're here for is to address the entire building and not just the front porch. With what was mentioned before about the $200,000 to $250,000 as far as the cost of it, when you have a building that's worth $300,000, once you break the $150,000 threshold, at that point, not just the first floor, not just the south side, the entire building has to be brought into 100% modern code. So the cost, he's really not going to be able to give that cost until the contractor would assess what it's going to cost for an entire new mechanical, electrical, plumbing system, as well as all the structural components therein. So when you break that threshold of $150,000, which they have, you have to bring everything to modern code, which is going to far outweigh what they paid for it. And I know he says it's going to probably be worth $550,000 or whatever numbers, but we still haven't received any plans for that, as well as the new structural report, addressing what they're going to do. We just have the one permit for remove and replace the front porch, and then that's when they came across as far as have to keep it up to historical standards. So that's kind of where everything stands on it. I just wanted to make sure the point of the 50% threshold, so everyone was aware of that, because that's a big number on this, because that's going to open up a can of worms on the entire building.
Board? Comments?
How many square feet is the building?
I don't have that exact number right now, I apologize. But it's a 4-unit building. So it's a 4-unit building, so roughly each unit is about 1,200 square feet. So probably about between 4,000 and 5,000 square feet.
In other words, it'd have 4 apartments in it? Is that what
Yes,
it
ma'am.
is?
Mm-hmm.
Does that comply with the zoning code for the city, multifamily?
I'm not aware of any zoning issues.
They'd have to go ahead and get that determination through our zoning, which would be with Charles Miranda, which is in our department. And because it's been past the 6 months, if it's one time was that and was zoned for it, at this point, because that 6 months has passed, they would lose that use. So they would also have to, go ahead and get that information and do the research on that before they even push forward to it being replenished as a 4-unit. So they'd have to do some homework on that in addition to what they got to do with the building department.
One thing I don't know is whether they're zoned to allow this type of use. If they're a grandfather use, meaning the zoning wouldn't allow it, they would have arguably lost the ability to establish that use due to the management.
There's an apartment complex directly across the street. I don't know if that...
But I don't think anyone here is capable of testifying as to what the actual zoning is or whether or not they're grandfather use.
Is the owner aware of the possibility of a zoning issue?
Oh, yes, he is.
Well, board, what do you think? Comments?
I think I've had all the comments, looking at the photos and looking at the engineer's report. I really feel that this probably is past a refurbish, and the cost would definitely exceed the value of the property. And I would recommend that the property be demoed.
The appeal be denied.
Yes.
Okay, anyone else?
I would feel the same way you're talking about. Being a builder, this is way beyond what the cost is, way beyond what it's worth, really.
Did somebody make a motion?
Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that it be denied.
Any other comments? Shall we have a vote, please?
Give a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, yeah. May we have a vote, please?
I
Want to pull the roll?
Call the roll.
Pull the roll.
Culver,
Nay.
Bailey,
Nay.
Do you understand your vote? Let's be clear. The motion is to okay, there's no problem. I just want to make sure everybody understands.
I want to understand it. Repeat it for
The
me.
motion is to deny the appeal. A vote of aye would be to deny the appeal. A vote of nay would be to approve the appeal. Support the appeal.
Repeat that again. I didn't hear you.
Okay. A motion's been made to deny the appeal.
Yeah.
A motion of aye would be to support the motion. A motion of nay would be to be opposed to
Okay.
the motion.
So yes would be,
Yes.
it would have to go down. Okay.
Let's do the roll again, please.
Do,
Nay.
Bailey,
Nay.
Brown,
Yes.
Weatherholt,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
yes.
Okay. Passes 3-2.
With your permission, the next case, case DP 2018-00003, 400 South Atlantic, an appeal of the notice of condemnation demolition order. And Mr. John Cecil, speak to this. Cecil, tell us your name and your title, please.
John Cecil, Demolition Rehabilitation Inspector.
And again, for the benefit of the new members following through this, what is your experience in the building inspection?
I've been in the construction field for about 34 years, doing inspections on buildings. Yes.
Do you want any licenses or certificates?
No state license at this time, but went in front of the board last month, and we'll be going in front of the state board, and I believe it's next month.
And what are your duties?
My duties are to go out and do I do complaints of building structures that are dilapidated, in disrepair, make an assessment, go back to the building official, give him my determination of the building. Then we do a site visit out there, and he approves or disapproves my decision of what I think the building is dilapidated or has problems with the building. Yes.
All right, are you familiar with this particular site
Yes.
at 400 South Atlantic, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. How did you first become familiar with this site?
This site is has been dilapidated. It's on A1A. Yeah, it's everyone drives by it every day. You've seen the property. We've had numerous complaints of this property also, from homeless being there, and there was after the storms there was numerous pieces of the hotel that were laying in the parking lot. So that's how we actually got to this property.
All right, when was your first site visit?
First site visit was, I'm going to say that it was on, not exact, but I posted the property on 4/6 of 2018. So if I can go back to the photos. Okay, this is just a current picture of the posting of the structure for the hearing.
Do you believe your first visit would have been around 4/6/18?
Yes, and I believe it was that week of that, because like I stated before, that once I receive a complaint and we go to the property, I'm at the property within the next day or so, or if not the same day.
How many times have you been out to this site?
I pass this site every day.
How many inspections have you actually performed?
There's numerous inspections. I couldn't give you an exact quote, but I stopped.
More than 3?
Oh yes, more than 3.
5?
Yes, I'm going to say 15 to 20 inspections on this site.
When was the last time you were out there?
This morning.
Has the owner attempted to do any work during the period of your inspections?
No, there's been some cleanup as far as debris and stuff on the property, but there's no work been done on the property at all as far as the interior, the ceiling. You can still see the ceiling is collapsing in the office area. The structure is in disrepair, and there's actually pieces falling off of the structure at the time, and it's unsecured.
All right, so we've got a front view, I guess, of the structure here.
Yes.
Just for the board's benefit, what are we looking at? What sort of structure is it?
This is a hotel. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 units in it, I believe it is.
Is it open?
No, it's not open. No, it's been closed.
Has it been closed the entire time?
Yes.
That you've been familiar with the property?
Yes.
All right, tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, this is a photo of, as you go to the front door, this is what you're looking at in the office, and you can see there's drywall from the ceiling that's leaking above. From the second.
Is this totally open to the elements here with the product and everything?
No, that is actually when you go up, if you see the front door, you walk up to the front door, that's what you see.
So this is glass we're looking through?
Yes, you're looking through glass.
Okay. And what is it we're seeing here down at the bottom?
That's all drywall, and where the ceiling is collapsed, as you can see in the very top of the picture, you can see where the drywall actually fell off of the ceiling.
From the ceiling?
Yes.
And we see, I guess, evidence of that on the counter, is that correct?
Correct, and on the filing cabinets and stuff like that.
Very good. All right. Let's take it there.
This is just showing the front of the one side unit. That actually faces east. That's just showing you actually what you're looking at. So you got 1, 2, 3, and there's a 4th unit on top, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units on the bottom, I believe it is.
All right. Now, I can see we've got a balcony on the left, but
Yes.
apparently something's missing on the right there. Tell us what the condition is of that
Yes, as
area.
on an earlier, that would actually balcony would run across that, and I have some other photos that I took today because I'm not sure if they were in the slideshow or not, but it shows that the balcony, that's unsafe if anybody was actually up there because there's no railing and it was all damaged during the storm. They attempted to, where it's blue right across the middle there, when we first went out to the site, that wasn't on there. They went up there to try to cover that up where the walkway was.
You mean they painted?
Yes, they actually, that's siding that they just vinyl siding.
That's vinyl siding.
The blue in between the upstairs and downstairs. And that's just to do a cover up of actually the damage that was there.
What damage was there?
You can see that it was all broke off. The concrete from the walkway is all falling apart. There's damage, rotting wood, and missing pieces that it actually falls on the ground. That's why they put up the fence. As you can see the fence there, stuff falls off of the property all the time.
I see. So somebody has come in and put some sort of fence.
Yes.
Now, does that secure the entire property?
No, it does not, because actually the fence has been over on the right-hand side. You can see where people or the homeless have been going in and out of the property. They actually roll the fence back and they go in onto the property. The orange fence over here on the siding, I was out there today. That's not there any longer. You got Busch beer cans that are sitting everywhere, so there is evidence that they're going in and out. And then you can actually go through there and walk up the stairs, which you'll see a picture of, and then you can look over onto the walkway.
people capable of walking up the stairs and going on that balcony currently?
Oh, yes, yes.
It's not secured in any way
No, it is not.
going up there. Is that structurally secure?
No, no, it is not.
And why do you say that?
Because if I do have some other photos I can pass out.
We'll pull those up.
Okay. And you can see where it's actually fallen off and it actually falls down. The walkway is all just crumbled.
Before we go to the photo shoot today, though, I don't want to leave this photo just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Now we look at the top roof line there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see there in terms of water intrusion or rot?
The roof, damaged roof, missing shingles, exposed plywood. So that shows that there's elements actually getting into each and every room is what it's doing. And we've had, I believe it was a contractor that came in and stated that he went into every unit and there is mold in every unit. And the building official will elaborate more on that. And that he had spoke with him that there is mold in every room. I mean, that's nothing that we can determine, but that's what the contractor was saying.
Now you did not meet with this contractor?
I did not, no.
Did Mr. Urquhart meet?
I believe Mr. Urquhart talked with the contractor, yes.
And the contractor was employed by the property owner, is that accurate?
I think they did an assessment of the value of the property.
He was thinking about buying it.
I see. Okay, we'll speak to that when you come in. All right, very good. Do you have the photos then that you took of the balcony area?
There's three. That's all it actually. That was three, and then this just shows how it's all unsecured. Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, I've only got three, so you'll have to share. If you can pass them around, I appreciate that. Now, when did you take these photos?
These photos were taken this morning.
And
Pass
what
it
vantage
down.
point were you taking these photos?
Yes, sir.
I actually walked up the stairs that's in between the two units and didn't walk out on the structure because it's not safe. I took the photos from the steps as you walk at the top, get to the top of the stairs.
And this photo, just for the record, will be sent to the record on this part. Now, what is depicted in the photo?
It's showing how the walkway is actually falling apart and the concrete's cracked and actually falling down. It's being cracked on the edges.
Yeah, I'll hand you back the photo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the photo indicates some cracking along the edges. Why is that significant to you?
To me, that shows that that's where the railing would have been, and then during the storms, the railing has blown off, and then that actually broke away the concrete, and then that shows that there's no stability of that structure there, the walkway.
Right, is there cracking along the building line between the balcony and the building itself?
Yes, the length of the building.
And does that indicate some separation issues?
Yes, it does.
And what's the significance of the separation?
The separation would be that actually could collapse down below.
And did you look at the structural beams that are holding that up?
And I have a photo. I should have a photo on here that shows the under shot of that balcony.
Were there some issues with the structural beams or the
Yes.
the underpinnings?
Yes, you can see.
And we've got some photos that we'll talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come to.
Yes.
And what is the picture?
This just shows the other section of it where I went back from the other one. That shows the beginning of it. This shows the other end of the structure. And as of today, that last unit, the door is open on that, so it's not secured. And in this picture also, I believe it's, if you can see to the right, you can see that door is actually taken off. And then that
On the upstairs?
upstairs.
So there's a missing door on the end unit.
Yes, and that shows that there's vagrants going in and out. And down here where it says keep out, back where the stairs go up, that fence is rolled back. As if you can see on that photo, that's where they were going in and out at that time.
Yes, I want to point out this, again, the balcony areas. Is there any evidence that you can point to the board of structural degradation?
Yeah, you can see like from on your 2 before just running out here, you have some missing where they actually were rotted off. They've been rotted off and they actually broke off from the storm and from the wind. And above the windows, you can see there's damage into the unit there to the left.
We would have water intrusion on the left, is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
On the left of the photo, and would there be water intrusion where the AC unit is and where the windows are boarded?
Yes, and then you can tell that that's where there was an overhang there that actually got ripped off, so that would show damage there.
And that would allow water intrusion into the building as well?
Yes.
I'm looking down here at the bottom right, there's a beam that looks like it's a little askew. Do you see that? This beam on the right-hand side?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a possible. That's from possibly from the wind that is not connected very well. It's not secured very well to the upstairs walkway. That would be from the wind and the damage from the storms that we had.
Is that a structural issue in your opinion?
Yes, it is.
Moving on. Anything new to point out here?
That's just showing you the photos actually go from one side to the other. That just shows you all the damage that is across on the balcony, going all the way across. And you can see the windows are boarded up. Those are actually because the windows have been busted out. And today that there was more windows that were actually busted out on the bottom units.
And not boarded up.
And not boarded up, correct. As you can see, you got missing siding where elements are getting in. And then this is what the photo looks like. Now, if you remember the back photo, it had a piece of the blue vinyl siding that went across that they tried to hide all that damage that was there. That's that.
Photo.
Yes. And the first ones where the blue was across the vinyl siding.
We're missing the siding here. That is open to the elements. Is that correct?
Yes. The siding now.
Siding over block or anything like that.
This is what they put the siding over.
Siding over frame, which is then allows moisture and rainwater into the structure.
That's correct. Because up underneath, actually, there's nothing there.
Very good.
That's just another photo of it.
That's concrete or wood?
That's concrete at the top and the wood underneath.
It's concrete over top of wood.
Mm-hmm. And right there's your wood.
Any evidence of rot in there?
You can see where there's been water damage on the wood, and the ceiling has all collapsed.
Any structural issues with any of that?
Well, there would be structural issues because your railing and everything has disappeared, so there would be structural issues towards the end of it, and the separation from the building itself, from the earlier picture, from when the walkway, where the crack runs the length of the building. That just shows wires hanging down there.
I assume that's out of code.
No, it's not.
Is there electric in the building?
No, there is not.
Is that a fire safety issue? If electric was turned on?
Yes. And here's just another photo there. And you can tell that's an older photo because the door is on that one unit there that is missing now, or where they were going in and out.
What is this wood down here on the bottom? Do you know where that came from?
That I do not know. I'm going to, if I would take a guess, I would say that it's the wood that has fell from up underneath of the balcony has fell down. They've picked it up and laid it up against the building.
If we look up to the top right corner of the structure, what do we see there?
Yes, you see damage where there would be weather intrusion in there, and the soffit and stuff is given away there. And that's another photo. That's just from the other angle. And then there's that. That's where an awning used to be there, and it came out, and so there was damage.
What do we have here?
That's just showing that there. That some of the windows were broken, and some of them were lifted up. They were vagrants or homeless were trying to get into the property.
So there's no glass here?
That's correct. Correct. Then this is when, before the contractor or whoever the homeowner had out there, before that, the blue vinyl siding that they put up to cover that up.
When was that work done on this vinyl siding?
I'm going to say it would have to be done, but in October or November of 2018.
After the property had been condemned?
After the property had been condemned, yes. As you can tell, you can see the orange postings that are on the property on the bottom. There's the same photo that you saw today, but that was an older photo. I'm just showing you the difference. This is when you walk to the top of the stairs between the two buildings. It's all collapsing. So that's where I got my photo for the balcony. So you can see that it's all just falling apart.
Is this a collapsed balcony?
Yeah. This is an overhang that goes down. It actually collapsed down, and it's leaning on to the top of the.
Not a balcony, but rather more of a roof structure.
Yes.
Overhang.
Overhang. Yes.
It's collapsed over.
And that was covering the stairs as you went to the units upstairs.
They've got a handy fire extinguisher there. It's a wood structure, obviously, all the way
Yes.
around, and there was no fire alarm system. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
I wonder if somebody doesn't say that.
There, that's showing some wood rot. That's showing cracks. This is going up the stairs. You see cracks in the block and in the foundation. See where the hand railing is? It goes back, runs back along the side. And that was your last photo.
In your opinion, is this structure unsafe?
Yes, it is.
And a danger to health, safety, and welfare of the citizens?
Yes, it is. And we've had complaints of this property also.
And it's apparently inhabited, at least partially, by vagrants?
By vagrants, yes.
Did you see any vagrants, or just the evidence of the...
Just the evidence. Because I actually, on that one corner of the fence, when it was folded back, I leaned it back up of the fence. And then it just keeps getting pushed back down.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. Any questions from the board?
I'm waiting for the building official.
All right.
Glenn Urquhart, Chief Building Official, City of Daytona Beach.
How did you first become aware of the issues with the site?
From complaints from neighbors, and me and John Cecil originally went out there and then assessed the damage.
And you issued an order condemning the property and requiring demolition?
Yes, sir.
And the site was posted, is that correct?
Yes, and we've actually dealt with that several times where they've removed the posting, then we put the posting back up, then removed it, then put it up again.
Very good. How many times have you been out to the site?
I drive by it weekly because I do main artery assessments, but as far as actually being on the site, probably 20, 25 times.
There's some mention of the contractor. Could you tell the board what that's about?
Well, as far as the contractor, the owner of the building is out of California, and we've had several reports back and forth with emails with Kim Flaherty, who is our project manager, and she's dealt with them where we're about to sell the property. Well, deal fell through. Okay, we got these people that want to look at it. Deal fell through. So it's a back and forth communication. That at one time they had individual that was cleaning up the property, and we were going to work with them, but nothing was actually being done to repair the building. It was clean up as far as just out in the parking lot and stuff. They were going to clean up the lobby area of where the rain was coming through from the second floor, but that rain came through then onto the ceiling of the first floor, and then that's where all the drywall was falling down into the lobby section. But as far as anything actually physically being done to the building to bring it up to code, nothing was being done on that, but the exterior premises was kept clean at that point.
All right, now we heard about the work for the fascia, I think it's called.
The fascia, yes.
Yeah. Was there any work that you would consider structural that was done to the building?
No, sir.
Was there any work besides the fascia, maybe some painting?
Just minor cleanup stuff.
Not related to the structure?
No, sir.
All right, in your opinion, is the property so deteriorated that it's unsafe or dangerous?
Yes, sir.
And why do you say that?
Well, as the pictures depicted, where you're getting to the balcony area of where the balcony sections came off, all of that concrete there has spalled off, and you got rusted and spalled off for people that aren't in construction. That's when the rebar inside the interior of the concrete gets rusted, then the concrete spalls. So it will fall away, and then the entire front section of that is all, you can see how the concrete is kind of like swelling. So you got your rebars rusting, and your concrete's coming away from it. And then as far as all your electrical wiring is compromised, as far as on the exterior, you've seen a lot of it hanging down. It's all rusting. So your wiring is rusted so your electrical system's got to be replaced. You're going to have to address the structural components. So where it kind of stands right now, as far as with the windows, windborne debris region, having to come up to code on that, I would say at this point it outweighs what the value of the building is, as well as a new roof.
All right, no further questions on this witness? Report?
Yes, have you sent notice to the owner to secure all of the property, to protect it from public?
Yes,
like
sir.
a 6-foot fence?
We don't tell them how to do it. We just tell them what dangers exist. Then within this, because it is zoned commercial, residential, got residential structure right behind it. Definitely signs of vagrants, homeless, as far as on premise. You know, they're leaving their blankets, leaving their what they're eating, drinking, and so with what they have there, at one time, the rooms were locked, so nobody could get in. But then when you go into the back where the collapsed canopy was, they were getting in the room back there. They were prying it open, then they put a lock on it. But they break locks, they cut chains, they get in there. And the reason that when we do post properties like this as far as unsafe to the public is because you have the public right behind it. You have citizens that are paying their taxes and paying their mortgage. They're right next to this building. So you got vagrants in there, and now, like John was out there this morning, now you got 2 more doors that are beaten in. So if there's a will, there's a way. They get in there. We can go by daily, and then they can get back in the following day. So those doors are new this morning as far as actually being wide open. So that means the vagrants are now gotten into the 2nd floor and getting up there.
So basically, it's still not secure.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it standard procedure for the city to, once they start in it, they assume a certain liability to the property if it's not secure? And that's for the attorney.
The city as the inspecting arm or the powers of the owner armed persons on their site. Moving forward is responsible for demolition and ultimately resolve all of that.
As well as also on the, because they had electrical to all the units, but once I was able to assess as far as all the electrical that was exposed and hanging after the storms and stuff, I went ahead and got with FPL and had all the electrical shut off on it.
Because I noticed in one of the pictures there was a light bulb shining on the back side there, so there was electricity to it until you had it disconnected.
Yes, sir. That would be one of the original pictures. Immediately, once we were there and I saw all the wires hanging, we communicated with Beverly from FPL, and they went ahead and had the power shut off on all the units.
So do you deem that this, if a contractor would come in, that they would have to redo all the electrical, the mechanical, the structural, because there was an eave over that 2nd floor with columns in it? I live close, I drive by it all the time.
Yes, I mean, at this point, to satisfy as far as what they have to submit is redo the electrical system, redo the entire canopy section over the 2nd floor on the northwest structure, as well as replace the concrete actual balcony on that same said structure. Then they have to actually address, because we have not been inside the rooms. I did at one point have a contractor that was thinking about buying the building, and once he got inside the rooms, he said, I have no interest in it now.
Is the parking area, is that large enough and enough parking space for that type of size of building and rooms, number of rooms?
That would have to be reassessed once they actually submitted an application to do everything, because now they're out of that same time parameter like we talked before. So if the use is still granted, they would have to, if they cross that barrier of the 50%, whatever the rules that we have in place now for parking, for the parking for that particular building, they'd have to meet that criteria.
You know, because just a minor thing on the handicap parking, it doesn't meet the ADA requirements, you know, for parking and the size of the parking. So that eliminates a large number of the parking spaces available for a building that size.
Correct, 100%.
Before they submit for permitting, it's hard for us to make those determinations.
Thank you. That's so.
You're welcome.
See if anybody in the public wants to speak.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Anybody in the public that wants to speak?
Anyone from the public to speak on this case? Sir, did you complete one of the forms to speak? Will you be sworn in, please?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony evidence you the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Give us your name, please,
Gary Atkinson,
and your address.
500 Francis Terrace, Daytona Beach.
Are you the joining property owner?
I'm sorry.
Are you a property owner next?
I have equitable ownership interest in the property. I've been the person running and managing the property for about 20 years under that ownership equity.
Okay.
I'm basically here today to concur with the building department. I'm sorry.
I just want to make clear, you know, who you are and who you're representing and what your relationship is before you speak any further.
Okay.
So you say you have an equitable ownership. Are you a part owner of the building or not?
I'm claiming that through a contract for deed purchase agreement, however, that's tied up with litigation at this
Okay,
time.
so you're not an actual owner of this?
Not on the deed, no, sir.
Or anything. Okay. Are you representing the owner in any way?
At this time, I can't. Them, only my corporation as contract for deed owner.
Okay, and what is your corporation?
Tropical Palms Investments, Inc.
And what was your last name again?
Atkinson.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
You can proceed.
I just simply wanted to state that in running this and as a business partner with the people in California over a number of years, the hurricane did a lot of damage to the property. It was immediately shut down. I was the person, since I've lived here my entire life and ran the property, who was appointed to approach the city, ask what can we do with this, what's required, and so forth. At this point in time, Mr. Urquhart has allowed a cleanup permit, demolition permit, whatever. We went in, we cleaned the office up, and point blank, as he indicated earlier, there's been a bunch of conflict of stop, don't do anything more, we sold the property, someone from wherever's bought it, send us the final bill for what you've done so far, our half, we'll get you a check out, but don't do anything further. The next day, apparently the same as the building department, I get an email, go back, prepare us a written bid, get us some written offers to tear the property down, just a mirage of things to where there's nothing left there. The building's, in my estimation, probably 3 times the repair cost would be 3 times the value of the building. And that's just an estimation. But I didn't want this hearing to go by and not appear and say these gentlemen have been out of their way to work with me. And I'm the one who keeps it clean. I live right down the street. I'm a lifelong resident in this area. And I've spoke with both of them. It did look like crap. We didn't get compensated, but we still went with our equitable ownership interest and cleaned it up. And we did put the panel on the front. So the new restaurants across the street did not see this mess. And he's exactly right. That's why it was put there. It was not put there to try to open a business or hide anything in that nature. That, I guess it's vinyl or aluminum, was put there to dress it up, to clean it up until they decided what they were going to do with it. Basically, my appearance is to say what the city is representing, in my opinion, is true. And the fact that as the local agent, and at one time, I received a letter just prior to the passing of the owner himself. I was business partners for 33 years with him, actually giving us this property, and that is what is tied up now with my attorney, Fred Scher, and hopefully they'll have an attorney. But regardless, I always approach these gentlemen, the city, they've worked with me, but when the deed owner puts the brakes on it, there's nothing I can do. That's my purpose of being here. I wanted everyone to know they have tried to work with us, and I've been here for years, and I can't say that they could do any more to help me than they've done, but California's put the brakes on everything we try to do. He allowed me to clean the office up, the tile that had fell, asked me to do so because the tourists see it right on the sidewalk. I did so with the understanding the owners were going to have us call a licensed general contractor. I also work as a construction superintendent for a GC. Continue after this. Unfortunately, I had to report to these gentlemen, the brakes got stopped. Don't do anything else. Get your trucks and get out of there. After representing to them, this was just stage one of several that was going to happen, but they wouldn't let us do it. Stopped us and told us to go home. That's my position with the whole thing. I mean, I don't have any say-so in what happens, but I wanted to bring it to the panel's attention that exactly what these two just represented is the case. I want it rehabbed, I want it cleaned up as well, but I can't do anything legally until the owners tell us to do it and pay for it.
Thank you for your coming forward, letting us know what you have done for our city. We appreciate it, and the nice comments on the building inspectors.
Thank you. We continue to try to keep it clean, only because I'm personal friends with every neighbor there, and I live there. And the fact that they were both polite and said, Gary, can you get it cleaned up? I mean, thank you, Bill.
And just to be clear, if I
Thank
could
you.
follow up on a couple of matters just very quickly. I'm sorry. So you're saying that you were a contractor for the owner?
No, I work as for a general contractor as a construction superintendent. And the last permit that was pulled by my boss that I worked with for the cleanup work. I think it was entitled demo permit only.
You worked for a contractor that was under contract with the owner, is that correct?
This one time of cleaning up the office, that was it, nothing further.
What's the company you work for?
The Allsbrook Construction Company, LLC.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody else out there?
Any other comments from anyone? Board, your wishes? Want to make a motion? You want to discuss anything?
My feeling is it probably should go down. They already got it.
Yeah,
I believe
anyone
that
want
it's,
to second?
That it is an unsafe structure. I believe that it should be taken down and protection of the public.
Is that your second then?
Yes, it is.
Any comments from any of the board? Shall we have a vote? Roll call vote. No, yes is to take it down?
Yes, to deny the appeal.
Yeah.
Mr. Culver?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Yeah,
Mr. Weatherholt?
Aye.
Ms. Brown?
Aye. Unanimous. Take her down.
That was our final hearing.
Kim, you said that there may be, Kim, right now you don't have anything for next month, but there may still be something coming up.
At this moment, we do not have any cases for next month.
Okay.
This is our month.
Do you need these back?
Let me get one to our...
Here. Okay. Any new business?
Any new business for anyone? Any comments anyone wants to make? We are adjourned.
Good job.